What's going on, dudes and dudettes? Some more bit of USC news. So I'm gonna start off with a little bit of more of the other teams really quick. So a five-star shooting guard named Kon Knueppel or Knueppel, I still haven't heard it said out loud yet, but he is like one of the top 15 overall players in next year's class, and he just committed to Duke yesterday, which is pretty cool. Saw some highlights of him. He is kind of like in the same vein of a player as who Duke already has in Jaden Schutt, as you call him, number 14 on the team, but he is a bit better of an overall scorer. He will go down and try to back in. Even though he's only like 6'6", he'll still use his thicker frame than Schutt to be able to try to get points inside as well and attack the basket. Unlike Schutt, who is more of a shooter, and there's nothing wrong with that, but even Duke doesn't seem to use him as just a shooter because they don't even look for him as much anyways when he's in, which sucks because he is still a pretty good shooter. But either way, this is a pretty good pickup for my Duke Blue Devils. And yes, of course, this got lost. I did not get this video or this topic in the last video. But yes, the Lakers did extend their player they traded for during the All-Star break and all that stuff last year, Jared Vanderbilt. They think it was like a 4-year, 40-something plus $1 million extension, which is nice because I still think that's pretty good for him. People think it's a little bit high, but I still like it because he is a really good, versatile player for you. And if it doesn't work out, then you still have a nice contract to be able to trade out in the future as well if things, like I said, don't pan out. So either way, I still think the Lakers are in good position here. Now, 7-Eleven is supposedly doing this NIL program or deal with like only 9 athletes as of right now, but they're getting together with them in college to like kind of design your own cleat or shoe, and then those will be auctioned off and given to, I believe it's through the Children's Miracle Network Hospital, and whatever money is made through those auctions and stuff for those cleats will be given back to that hospital, and that's pretty cool because Dorian Singer, the wide receiver, the transfer wide receiver for USC, is part of those 9 athletes. So that's pretty cool for him to be able to give back to the community in that way. And House of Victory had a couple of sightings this whole last week. All football players, of course. The wide receiver, the freshman, Jacoby Lane was one of those guys. Also, the wide receiver that's been there for a couple years, Kyron Hudson. And then also the freshman defensive end, defensive tackle, whatever you want to call him, Elijah Hughes was also put on House of Victory. So obviously getting a lot of these younger dudes, even if they're not going to be playing, or I expect Jacoby Lane to redshirt this year just because of how much talent there is at his position. Hughes, it's kind of like, I think he's more of like a second string even as of right now as a true freshman, so he might not redshirt just because of how good he is, but you just never know, so we'll see about that. And yes, the other day, PFF did their top quarterback board rankings, or whatever they want to call it, and of course, Caleb Williams is number 1 in that rankings, according to the NFL draft that's coming up. And a little bit surprising, just because he's always been lower, unless like barely making the top 10, is Duke's quarterback, Riley Leonard, but apparently, according to PFF, he's just nearly as good, and he's already considered top 5 on there as well. So I'm not mad about that. I think he is a pretty talented dude, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens with the rest of the season. And then 247 Sports did their most impactful freshman on the women's basketball side. Obviously, Juju Watkins of USC, the number 1 player coming out of high school, is on that list, but I totally forgot too about a Duke player in Jaden Donovan. I totally did not see that bit of news, and she's probably one of the more talented freshmen coming in out of high school as well, so I might be checking out some more women's Duke basketball in my near future. And yeah, sadly the other day the Cowboys cut Ronald Jones II from their team, who's an ex-running back for USC. It was kind of bad timing too, because he was coming off his 2-game suspension and then they let him go, which is kind of weird, but I guess they feel like their younger running backs are good enough. I still think Ronald Jones has enough ability and speed to be able to last in this league, at least as a backup. So I know the Chargers, I don't know, their backups are kind of like iffy right now, but I don't know if, I think they still want to stick with the young guys still, but I don't know. I'd take a chance on Ronald Jones if I was a team out there. And then a local 4-star cornerback, I believe his name is Isaiah Rubin from Los Alamitos High School, recently put USC in his top 4. So that's pretty cool. Definitely, at least on the mind of some of the more highly talented local prospects still coming into the 2024 recruiting class. And then a top 5 edge, Chad Woodfork, said he was recently surprised, or it was a really cool surprise to get, an offer from USC, which is always seems to be pretty cool for a lot of these guys, but it is kind of weird that I know when you read some of these statements, it's kind of like, yeah, USC has offered them late and didn't really offer them right away. So who knows if they're going to be really in the running for some of these top guys, but you just never know, because just like this next guy, they recently offered a defensive lineman from the SEC who's actually committed to an SEC school, and Gabriel Relaford. Well, I believe he's committed to Texas A&M, but they're already going through their struggles and problems out there. So who knows if he's going to still stick with his commitment. So it is kind of smart to go after guys who are committed to these struggling programs out there, at least this early in the season, to get your name on their mind and then see what happens at the end of the season if they do want to jump ship to another team or not. So it is pretty smart on USC's recruiting strategy in the class of 2024. And I don't know if this post is called the Almanac Volume 2 or it said like Field of 68, something like that. But they recently had a couple of USC players and their projections for this season as far as the basketball court. They said Isaiah Collier, I believe, is like the number 20 overall player, and that he would be, I don't know if he's in the running or if he would win the NCAA Freshman of the Year. So that's pretty cool in my mind if he was in that, conversation. And then Boogie Ellis was like the number 45 overall player, the top 100, and he would win the Pac-12 Player of the Year, which is awesome. And then also Kobe Johnson, he wasn't ranked in the top 100, I don't believe, but they said he would win the Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year. So either way, as long as USC can, sweep those awards, and even Collier could win the freshman of the Pac-12 or whatever, something like that, whatever award they got, he could win that too. So it could be a clean sweep for my USC Trojans. So yes, earlier this week, Lincoln Riley and the USC department, whatever, I don't know, they suspended one of the reporters out there. I think it's from the OC Register, and apparently it came out eventually that he may have overheard a conversation of 2 players, because usually after certain practices, certain players will be selected to talk to the media, and they'll just kind of wait off on the side, have one of the players talk for like 3 to 5 minutes, and then the next player swaps in. But I guess he had overheard a conversation of those 2 and maybe put that conversation in one of his pieces or with one of the things that he wrote. And Lincoln Riley didn't like that, apparently, because he's trying to protect his player, as he said. So they suspended him for a couple of weeks the other day, but then I think it was just yesterday, they had reinstated him and said they talked through it and no ill will was towards anybody. And, everything is fine and copacetic, I guess. But yeah, it was kind of interesting. A lot of people were talking crap about Lincoln Riley and all this stuff that even happened in Oklahoma of what reporters went through. But Lincoln Riley is just that much of a head case and, wanting to control everything, I guess. But that is most college head coaches nowadays. And then the ASU versus USC tomorrow, Saturday night, 7:30 on Fox, I believe it is. So definitely looking forward to that. There was kind of an update on the Colorado game, to where they're going to be playing that game next Saturday, but it's going to be at 9 a.m., which is pretty surprising. Luckily, it's still 10 a.m. over there in Boulder, so they're not playing that early, like how they did in that COVID year against ASU when they played 9 o'clock here on the West Coast. But yeah, it'll be pretty interesting to see USC playing that early again, but I guess they have to get used to that schedule once they go to the Big Ten as well, playing all the way up in Rutgers or Penn State that early. That could be certain matchups as well in the future, so definitely looking forward to seeing how that goes. And then, yes, Blink-182 recently put out a music video for their song One More Time. I was talking about it the other day, but they put it out officially yesterday. It was a really cool video. It's kind of them in front of a green screen, but it's like panning through different music videos in their past and stuff, and it's pretty cool because even the song too is like, do I have to die one more, I forget how it goes already, but you know, it's like, do I have to die or go through these plane crashes like Travis Barker did, or you know, Mark Hoppus going through his chemo stuff with cancer to be able to talk to these people again in your life, or say I love you again and all that stuff. So yeah, it was a pretty sentimental song, very slower. It's a lot more acoustic style, but still liked it nonetheless. And then they released another song a couple hours after that, More Than You Know, which is a bit more faster and upbeat, but still both Tom and Mark singing at the same time. Even in that first song, One More Time, Travis Barker, who usually doesn't sing, the drummer, even gets a one more time a couple times in there in the song. So that's pretty cool. It's probably his first time singing on one of their songs. But yeah, overall, it's all in the feels. Obviously, they wanted to get you in the nostalgic feels, and obviously all the tough stuff they have gone through. And even Tom DeLonge had recently said that he was planning on retiring from music, because I didn't even realize that it was so many years since even his Angels and Airwaves albums. It was like 2014 came out with the Dreamwalker, and then like 2021 they came out with that newer one, Life Forms. But I'm pretty sure they had released some new music in between. But yeah, it was just crazy. Like, I wasn't even really thinking about it because I know he was more busy about making this movie, which is coming out October 6th. But yeah, definitely looking forward to the future of this band and hopefully getting more and more music, because the album comes out October 20th. So I'm sure we'll be getting some more music videos and lyric videos on YouTube for promoting new songs. So definitely looking forward to that. So yeah, thanks for watching, people. Like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day, and good luck to my Fight On Trojans, and bolt up, I guess, for the Chargers against Minnesota.